My name is Nia. I journey alongside families who are navigating the challenges of dementia. Each family carries a unique narrative. This is one such story. It usually starts with a phone call, not a dramatic one, just a tired voice trying very hard to sound okay. A few months after her mother's diagnosis, Susan reached out to me. She was uncertain about how to start the conversation. This is a common feeling. Many people feel this way, especially when life appears to be normal on the surface. No one witnesses what occurs once they depart. That's what Susan shared with me. Her mother could still smile, engage in conversation, and assure others that she was doing well. This made it incredibly challenging to articulate the reality of what was happening at home. By morning, Susan felt utterly exhausted. Nights had become increasingly erratic. Persistent questions lingered. Her sleep was continually disrupted. The anxiety proved to be unyielding. Then Susan asked me a question. It's a common query I often receive from families. How can I tell the difference between dementia and just my mum aging? It's a simple question. However, it rarely has a simple answer. My name is family possesses a unique narrative. Today, I set out to uncover Susan's story. At this moment, all I can discern is her evident exhaustion. I also sense her concern for her mother. The rest of her tale will gradually unfold before me. Occasionally, what appears to be forgetfulness is merely a fragment of a larger narrative. The rest often remains concealed behind closed doors, buried within daily routines, masked by disrupted sleep, enveloped in the silent burdens families bear each day. I pondered what discoveries awaited me upon my arrival. House 369 exuded tranquility. The garden was meticulously maintained. The curtains were drawn back. Everything appeared to be in harmony. Yet I've learned that the full narrative isn't always apparent from the exterior. Frequently, the toughest challenges of care unfold in areas unseen by others. Nia, she asked. Susan? We shared warm smiles. Her expression revealed a mix of relief and a touch of uncertainty. Come in and let me fetch Mum. Little did we know the days ahead would teach us both a significant lesson. Even before I met Mum, the house caught my attention. The reminders, the notes, the calendar, these small details, often overlooked by visitors, spoke volumes. They revealed that someone was diligently striving to keep life organized. Then I found Mum. She greeted me with a comforting smile. She asked me to come in. We shared a heartfelt chat over a cup of tea. If only I had taken just 5 minutes with her, I might have thought that everything was all right. And that's the painful reality of dementia. 5 minutes seldom reveals the complete picture. We talked about her family. We fondly remembered the house. We contemplated the years she had lived there. Then, just moments later, she shared the same story once more. Not out of obstinacy, but because for her it felt fresh. She turned to me, a smile gracing her lips. Did I ever share the story of the day we moved here? It was a tale I had heard before. Yet it wasn't just about the narrative. It was about a cherished memory, a moment she longed to preserve. So I listened attentively. Then I found her. Mum exited the room. The atmosphere in the house felt altered. It seemed quieter in a peculiar way. Susan turned to me and smiled. Then she uttered something I'll always remember. This is the part nobody sees. And for the first time that day, she began to share her story with me. Susan shared with me the stories of the good days. On those days, Mum appeared to be more like her true self. Visitors would depart remarking, "She looks wonderful," and they were indeed correct. What they failed to recognize was the effort that went into it. Susan was bearing that cost each and every day. As Susan expressed her thoughts, I paused thoughtfully before replying. I chose not to jump to immediate solutions. I refrained from giving her suggestions on what steps to take next. There are moments when people aren't looking for advice. Often, they simply need the comfort of knowing that their voices have been genuinely acknowledged. As the night progressed, Mum appeared to be at ease. We enjoyed a meal together. We engaged in conversation. We shared laughter. To an onlooker, it might have appeared to be just another typical evening. However, I was starting to grasp an important truth. Most people only witness one side of the story. As bedtime approached, the house fell into a serene silence. Mum had already retired for the night. Susan had also gone to bed. The lights were turned off. Everything appeared calm and tranquil. However, I've come to realize that some of the most significant aspects of dementia care unfold when others believe the day has come to an end. This is where the untold narrative often starts. At 1:47 a.m., I noticed some movement. Before I could even sit up, Susan was already alert. There was no sense of panic, no trace of frustration, just the composed reaction of someone familiar with this routine. Shortly Mum stood by the window, gazing into the darkness. "Is it morning yet?" she inquired. Susan chose not to correct her. There was no argument. Instead, she stepped into Mum's reality for a brief moment and walked gently beside her. I observed Susan skillfully shift the conversation, not by correcting Mum, not by trying to prove a point. Instead, she provided reassurance. It was a brief moment, easily overlooked, yet kindness was achieving far more than correction ever could. Shortly after, Susan prepared a cup of tea for Mum. She then took a seat beside her. No one brought up dementia. No one attempted to solve anything. For a few moments, they just sat together. The atmosphere in the room grew more tranquil, and I observed something significant. Mum wasn't seeking tea. She was in search of reassurance. I came in with the intent to learn about dementia, and indeed I did. However, what lingered in my mind wasn't a symptom, nor a behavior, or even a diagnosis. What truly resonated with me was the bond they shared, a daughter striving to do her best, and a mother navigating a world that often felt confusing to her. The essence of the story lay in their relationship. By morning, I was certain of one thing. Some aspects of this home were functioning wonderfully. However, others were complicating life more than necessary. In the next 24 hours, I would uncover much more than I anticipated. But first, Susan required some rest, and that's where my involvement would start. Part 2 reveals what I observed.